Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, December 13, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located in the comment section, as well as the video description, so that you can skip to the point in the video that you want to see the most, because you know that the videos over here where the Jamaica are 30 to 50 minutes long, so it's the best that you utilize those things so that you can save time. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days hold in terms of what the Euro as well as the GFS supercomputer models are showing. As usual, we're going to be focusing our attention on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. Excuse me. And we're going to be focusing our attention on the entire Atlantic basin in general. First of all, we can already make out the broad area of low pressure, that's the trough. And if we take a look back at the infrared satellite images, let's see if we can make out the spin associated with it. It's somewhere right here to the north of Puerto Rico. Lots of clouds, showers and thunderstorms up there, sending all of the flow from north to south into portions of Puerto Rico as well as the Dominican Republic. So it's somewhere right here, just like what the Euro model is showing. We see the moisture associated with it, especially excuse me, off to the northeast of the broad spin. But we're just going to be going out to the next 7 days. As usual, we're looking for all of this, the greens into the yellows that represent moisture in inches. So going in to Saturday, we see that there is going to be some rainfall across especially northeastern parishes in Jamaica. We see the light shades of greens. We also see a lot of rainfall coming into portions of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, as well as Jamaica. This is 18Z on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. Let us see if the latest GFS is showing something similar for the same time period. Alright, there we go, 1 p.m. on Saturday. Same thing like what the Euro is showing. Some light shades of greens across northeastern Jamaica, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Rainfall across eastern Cuba, northern Haiti, and northern Dominican Republic, as well as sections of Puerto Rico for sure. Let's continue to go out throughout the weekend. Heading into Sunday, we see that the moisture should be staying right here, especially across the southern Bahamas into the Turks and Caicos, eastern Cuba, Hispaniola, still getting nailed. Excuse me. We can actually make out the rainfall still plaguing northeastern parishes for sure in Jamaica. Heading into Monday, not much change. Even though we have white, we still have some greens in and around the island that represents moisture. Heading into Tuesday, something similar. Wednesday, something similar. Hit or miss, isolated on and off rainfall for sure. And we're gonna be stopping right there at 12Z on Friday, December 20. And excuse me, we can see the rainfall right here across the far western Caribbean into portion of the eastern Yucatan Peninsula, eastern Belize, sections of northeastern Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, still getting rainfall. We see a string of moisture stretching from the ABC Islands all the way up into the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, stretching all the way upward into the northern portion of North Atlantic. Let us see if that's what is being showed at the end of the next 7 days on the GFS. Alright, so heading into Sunday, we see that the moisture is still going to be lingering right here across the Bahamas, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, sections of northeastern Jamaica. Monday, and heading into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we see what's taking place. Well, look at this for Friday. There's a lot of rainfall for the northeastern Caribbean, but we're going to be stopping right there at the end of the next 7 days, the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for 18Z which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday, December 20. And do we see consensus with what the Euro was showing right here on the GFS? Definitely. We see the rainfall into portion of the eastern Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Honduras, sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. We also see that rainfall that's going to be affecting portion of Dominican Republic, stretching all the way up into the northern portion of North Atlantic. But we don't see that robust amount of rainfall for the Leeward Islands at all, like what the GFS is showing here. We don't see it for the Euro model or on the Euro model at all. But we see lots of whites for Jamaica. So I guess by next week, Friday, is going to be clear and sunny skies for the most part. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast over the next 7 days, not much change. We can definitely make out the most in the way of rainfall represented by the dark reds into the purples, pinks for southeastern Florida, still for eastern Cuba, still for northern Dominican Republic. We are starting to incorporate a lot of heavy rainfall into portions of the Windward Islands, northeastern South America, right there with those dark shades of reds into purples. That represents 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. We also see a lot of it across southeastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, as well as northwestern Panama. And we also see it across sections of northwestern Honduras, northeastern Guatemala, and Belize as well. And we see that it's not only the Euro model that's showing this for the next 7 days, but even the GFS supercomputer model is showing something similar. Lots of rainfall for these very spots that the Euro was highlighting. So prepare yourself if you live in those spots. Clearly the other areas are going to be getting on more greens, into the yellows, into the oranges, into the slight reds. That represents anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way up to 1 inch of a rainfall. But regarding the close-up of the rainfall forecast for Jamaica, not much change. Clearly northeastern Jamaica is still going to be getting in on the brunt of the most in the way of rainfall with that moist northeasterly flow. We see the blues, greens, yellows. That represents all the way up to 51 millimeters of rainfall across especially Portland on the Euro. This is valid for, well, from now all the way up until Friday, December 20. What does the GFS model show? We can definitely see the greens that represent moisture all the way up to maybe 25 millimeters of rainfall, especially across the northeastern portion of the island for sure. A lot of it out to sea all the way up to 36 millimeters. That's crazy. Don't see, well, we actually see some of that across the waters to the east of Jamaica on the Euro, but clearly the GF is a bit more widespread and robust with the rainfall out to sea. Very interesting times ahead. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how it all unfolds, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happens on our other social media platforms. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have the trough right here to the north of Puerto Rico, to the north of the Leeward Islands, but the broad area of troughiness as represented by the broken orange lines extends all the way down into portions of the southeastern Caribbean. We can still make out that frontal system stretching all the way down into portions of Cuba, and the trough that it has induced across the western Caribbean. As usual, there's some ridge of high pressure somewhere to the north that's sending all of these entities from east to west across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities even better. I mean, we can definitely see that spin somewhere in here associated with that broad area of low pressure. You can see the moist northerly flow that has been bringing with all of that rainfall into portions of Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and it has also been bringing that northeasterly flow into the Bahamas, Cuba, as well as Jamaica too. And we can see some clouds right here across portions of the Windward Islands. You can see some clouds across northeastern South America. We can also make out some clouds to bring some rainfall to sections of Central America too. We'll be talking more with the rest of the Caribbean with it later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, December 12, well, Friday, December 13, that should say. Don't know why this says 12, 2024. So it was stated that I would have had rain, cool, and windy conditions for especially northern Jamaica last night into Friday. And it was stated that some of these conditions could have spilled into sections of southern Jamaica. And just for reference, we know northern Jamaica, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Southern Jamaica, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? At around 11:45 a.m., the visible satellite images were posted on our social media platforms, and they were highlighting that moist northeasterly flow. Look at that flow, that low level flow, bringing those clouds especially into sections of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, some of this even spilling into sections of Clarendon and even Manchester right there. Some of these clouds, if not overcast skies, some isolated showers were definitely being brought into those areas. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Instagram page that we just showed you at weather.jamaica, but they're also made on our Twitter page at weatherjamaica, on our Tik Tok page at Weather Jamaica, as well as our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before all was said and done with the day, we can definitely make out that northeasterly flow. I mean, look at all of these low level clouds crashing into the hills or the mountains, Blue Mountains for sure. Definitely bring some isolated shores, especially to the northern parishes. Southern Jamaica as usual getting in on the sunshine for sure. You've been talking about this. That's that relief rainfall that loves to take place across those northeastern parishes. And we didn't see much in the way of high cold cloud tops or thunderstorm activity. We don't see the colors at all on this infrared satellite imagery. The blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, or the blacks. Don't see any of that, just to indicate that it's just some low level cloud with some isolated showers. And taking a look at the live cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, rewinding back the clock all the way back to 2:12 today, we saw that the afternoon was definitely sunny across Crossroads, but looking to the north towards the hills of St. Andrew, we can make out the clouds from the northeast definitely plaguing the hills up there. Some of these areas even getting in on some isolated shores, especially on the other side of the hills where we have the northern parishes. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams up all day, every day for your viewing pleasure for free. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out, just in case they install a camera near you, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras across the island. So subscribe so that you don't miss out. If we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had the rainfall today. It might not be this 100% accurate in terms of the rainfall that actually took place, but it does paint a picture of where we had the rainfall, wherever we had the clouds coming in from the northeast for sure, especially across the northern parishes that we highlighted. And at least we got one comment here, but this was more so last night when we highlighted that rain band that was coming in from the north. It was right there between Cuba and Jamaica, and we highlighted it coming, and it would have brought some rainfall to the section of northern Jamaica, and we stated that it would have been possible that it spilled into the section of southern Jamaica, and so it did, because we had Jomar Parks stating raining now in my area, and he always states that he lives in northern Clarendon, so I guess some of that rainfall that affected sections of St. Anne might have spilled into his area last night. If we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, we can make out that the latest images as of 23:35 UTC. So this just came out at 6:35 p.m. So that's about what, 10-12 minutes ago, considering that it's 6:47 p.m. now. Not seeing much of anything at all. Boy, the dry season is definitely dry seasoning. Thunderstorms are definitely wrapping up. Just some light shade or just, well, light clouds more than anything else. And if rainfall is taking place, clearly northern Jamaica is feeling the brunt. And trust me, this is just the beginning. That's usually how it is during the drier months, December all the way through to March. So get used to the dry weather. Taking a look at the very latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery. Why the Cuban Doppler radar keeps glitching out between these hours, I don't know why, but clear the latest Cuban Doppler radar images as of 5:30 p.m. Not seeing much of anything around the island. Even the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery not showing much of anything between eastern Cuba, Haiti, or Jamaica. Regarding the Cayman radar, we can make out some isolated showers right here coming in from the north for sure, or from the northeast, from Cuba pushing southwest. Maybe a section of Grand Cayman could pick up on some amount of isolated showers later on tonight, if not already. And regarding the temperatures right now, we can see that we're at 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Saturday, temperatures should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Saturday when calculated. That's about 1 p.m. on Saturday. And we can still see a lot of blues that has engulfed Jamaica. We know the blues excuse me are representing up to maybe 2 degrees Celsius below normal temperatures. I definitely felt the cool temperatures today. Did you feel the cool temperatures? When I was in Kingston, it was definitely hot, but by the time I got back home in St. Thomas, I definitely felt the dip in temperatures. It definitely made me want to sleep, but I had a video to make, so I didn't even bother to sleep. I'll definitely be sleeping well tonight given these cooler than average temperatures. And clear, these temperatures are going to be spilling into Saturday as well. This is valid for 1 p.m. on Saturday. So it's representing maybe 2 to 3 degrees Celsius below normal temperatures for Saturday. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of December are around 87 degrees Fahrenheit. And 87 degrees Fahrenheit when calculated to Celsius is about 30.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from maybe 27 all the way up to 30 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Saturday. But we know, especially on the south coast, it could definitely feel warm, especially given the winds from the northeast are going to be, not that as robust like what the north coast is going to be feeling. So it could feel hotter on the south coast for sure. But either way, we have to highlight the maintenance outages that are expected from the JPS. And according to my JPS Online on Twitter page, they've stated that there's going to be a maintenance outage on Saturday, December 14 for Warwick Castle. That's in St. Mary at around 8:15 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that's the only area that they've stated that there should be power outages expected. So if there's a power outage in your area, clearly something bad happened, or whatever the case may be. Either way, report it so that the JPS can know what's happening and resolve the problem. So if you live or work in Warwick Castle in St. Mary, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work there, let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Saturday. And if these temperatures are still going to be a bit too hot for you on Saturday, here we have some tips to beat the heat. As usual, check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated. Put away the sugary drinks. Drink a lot of water instead. A huge percentage of the body is made up of water, so replenish it as much as you can with a lot of water. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can still see a lot of dry air. As we know, the dry air is represented by the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we see that on the key on the bottom, and we also see it across the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, the waters right here to the east of the US, the northern portion of the North Atlantic. Lots of blues though across the main development region, as well as right here where we have that trough. So we have moist air here and there, and we have a lot of dry air around. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we can clearly see that the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, North America, Central America, South America, for the most part South America in the clear. Most of the Saharan dust as represented by the light shades of bronze are across the northeastern portion of South America. We're talking about eastern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, section of Trinidad and Tobago, section of the Windward Islands stretching all the way from about Guadeloupe southward. And we see that it's dwindling, so it's not that vigorous of a plume. We see more so in the way of light shades of browns. That's what we like to see. We don't like to see the dark shades of browns at all, because the dark shades of browns basically mean that we have vigorous plume that can cause very hazy skies, not to mention triggering asthma or sinusitis issues in some persons. And clearly we see the most Saharan dust should be hugging the coast of Africa right there. So we're indeed grateful that for 2 p.m. on Saturday, Jamaica and majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, clearly the highest waves should be right here to the northeast of the Bahamas, eastern portions of Florida, eastern Cuba, northern Hispaniola, northern Puerto Rico, between the Windward Passage, extending down into eastern Jamaica. Wherever we see the purples into the burgundy colors, that's what we see on the key on the bottom right. That represents anywhere from 2 all the way to maybe 5 to 6 meter wave heights for sure. Let us see. This is 3.9 meters right here to the waters to the east of the Bahamas. This is 2.5 meters to the east of Jamaica. In and around the Cayman Islands, 2.6 meter wave heights. Immediately to the north of Jamaica, 1.8 meter wave height. Immediately to the south of Jamaica, 1.4 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are going to be clearly coming in from the northeast for sure. So that means more relief rainfall for northern Jamaica. But look at the colors. We see the greens to the immediate north of Jamaica, 18 knot winds. To the immediate south of Jamaica, 30 knot winds. To the east of Jamaica from the Windward Passage, 23 knots. Across the area around the Cayman Islands, 22 knots. Across this eastern Caribbean, we see coming more so from the southeast, curving from the east to the north around that broad airflow pressure that should be very close to the Dominican Republic by tomorrow. So it's definitely pushing downward. So a 10 knot southeasterly flow, quite an interesting weather pattern that is currently going on with this broad spin. Either way, in terms of the close-up of Jamaica regarding the winds, we can see that strong northeasterly flow, especially right here off to the east of the island, that is expected across much of the country. We're talking about anywhere from 10 to 20 knot winds. And regarding the upper level flow, we can see that coming in from the west, nothing significant taking place. We know if it was coming more so from the southwest, it would favor more rainfall for the north. If it was coming in more from the northwest, it would favor more rainfall for the south coast, especially if we got the thunderstorms or diurnal convection to blow those high cold cloud tops off towards that direction, giving us more overcast skies, if not some light rainfall. If we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the GFS and this map from the Euro are both showing 9 a.m. on Saturday. And we can see the blues represent rainfall across northeastern Jamaica. We're talking about St. Ann, St. Mary, Portland on the Euro, as well as the GFS showing something similar. But clearly the Euro is a bit more robust with the rainfall forecast with those dark shades of blues. Skipping ahead now to about 2 p.m. on Saturday, we see the rainfall not only extending from Portland, St. Ann and St. Mary, but spilling into section of Trelawney and St. James on the Euro. GFS not so much with the St. James thing, but definitely into Trelawney, as well as those other mentioned parishes. So look out for that rainfall. Is possibly going to be an all-day thing. We even see the accumulated precipitation for the next 24 hours from the Euro. And the GFS showing rainfall for the northeast. That's where the most rainfall should be accumulated. Euro showing up to at least 0.23 of an inch of rainfall. Across Portland, GFS up to 0.13. We'll see exactly what unfolds. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs on my other social media platforms. So we're in the dry season. We know the drill. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 25 millimeters of rainfall. That's about an inch of rainfall for the month of December. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 4 inches of rainfall. That's about almost 100 millimeters. That's 90 millimeters of rainfall. So clearly Montego Bay receives more rainfall throughout the year than Kingston. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from the rain gauge from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the clouds coming in from the northeast, bringing rainfall and overcast skies to sections of eastern Florida, the Bahamas, section of Cuba, sections of Belize, can't catch a break, so too Guatemala, Belize. We also see that rainfall from the ITCZ coming into sections of eastern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, as well as the Windward Islands. And if we take a look at the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening. Alright, so we can make out some rainfall in and around Puerto Rico as we speak. Not seeing much rainfall across the Leeward Islands, but definitely some rainfall between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Loading these images from earlier today. Look at that moist northerly flow. Puerto Rico is definitely getting in on a lot of rainfall today for sure, as well as maybe eastern portion of the Dominican Republic. Regarding what's taking place on the Barbados radar, we see a lot of heavy rainfall currently surrounding and affecting Barbados as we speak. We can also see some of that rainfall affecting sections of the Grenadine Islands, sections of Tobago getting some of the rain, as well as sections of Trinidad getting in on some of the action too. Taking a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, we can make out sections of the ABC Islands getting in on some of the rainfall, sections of the eastern Yucatan, Belize, eastern Nicaragua, as well as sections of Colombia. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the year and this map from the GFS are in consensus that from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday, sections of eastern Florida, the Bahamas, sections of northern and eastern Cuba, northern Haiti and Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of St. Martin, St. Kitts, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of eastern, western and southern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, sections of the ABC Islands, as well as eastern and even portions of western Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, and even maybe section of the Cayman Islands could get in on some amount of rainfall. And it's that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.